Is going on YouTube? So coming back today, I've got my last video for the positional rankings for the 2016 MLB Player Rankings Series. So yesterday I finished up with my relief pitcher and closing pitcher portion. If you've not seen that yet, definitely go check that out. I'll put the link to the entire playlist in the description below, and it'll also probably be in the outro. So for the starting pitchers, I'm going to do a different format. I'm going to do my top 20. I'm not going to do any honorable mentions. I felt like 23 or 25 each would both be weird numbers, ones that didn't really fit in well with the format that I've normally been doing. So let's go ahead and start with number 20. And I've got the starting pitcher, now probably the ace for the Toronto Blue Jays, and that is Marcus Stroman. So Marcus Stroman saw limited regular season action last year. I believe he only pitched 27 innings. Good for 4 wins, 18 strikeouts, 1.67 ERA, and a .96 WHIP. Obviously in limited work, very, very good stats. This is a guy that I think will take a big step forward this year. I've got a lot of faith in his talent. This guy was big through the minors, big when he played for USA Baseball. He's been a good pitcher all his life, and I can see it continuing that way. So continue on to my number 19, and I have the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez. So, there we go. Alright, so Jose Fernandez is a guy that, to me, is going to have a big 2016, but he's thought of differently in a lot of people's minds. So, I don't think he made an appearance until about the middle of the season last year. Didn't really pitch until July, and then after that I believe he got injured again. So Fernandez was coming back off Tommy John surgery. Like, he still has that same arm that he's always had. And then, I just think that Jose Fernandez is a guy that will be able to get back on track this year if he's able to stay healthy. Obviously, the health is a big question. So last year in the limited action he put up 6 wins, 79 Ks, 2.92 ERA, and a 1.17 WHIP. 1.16, excuse me. So at number 18, I have the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. So, what I believe was Felix Hernandez's 12th year in the majors. He put up 18 wins, 191 strikeouts, 3.53 ERA, and a 1.18 WHIP. Though WHIP and the ERA are a little bit higher than his career normals, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get back on track this year. I think he'll still be able to put up some solid stats. He's still pitching in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. He was still able to keep the win and strikeout numbers up. So a rebound season, ERA and WHIP-wise, might be in the making for King Felix. So at number 17, I've got the Oakland Athletics, Sonny Gray. So Sonny Gray, I think, really secured the ace position for the Oakland Athletics last year. He was able to get 14 wins, 169 strikeouts, 2.73 ERA, and a 1.08 WHIP. To me, one of the more underrated pitchers when you're considering top 20 pitchers in baseball. Still a name that's not vastly known. Been around for a couple of years now, though. So move on to my number 16, and I have the New York Mets, Noah Syndergaard. So Syndergaard was able to get 9 wins, 166 Ks, 3.24 ERA last year, and a 1.05 WHIP. So I've said this before in a couple of my mock drafts. I think that the Mets are a team that are kind of bust prone for the rotation. I think that Syndergaard and DeGrom and Matt Harvey are all solid pitchers. They had a solid year last year, but a lot of people are relying very heavily on very limited bodies of work for all of them, really, outside of Matt Harvey. So, like I said, I could see another good year out of Syndergaard for being the third pitcher in the rotation. That is obviously a very stacked rotation, one of the best, if not the best, in baseball. So at number 15, I've got the Cleveland Indians, Carlos Carrasco. So Carrasco had a big year last year, able to rack up 14 wins, 216 Ks, which was very surprising in my mind. 3.63 ERA and a 1.07 WHIP. So Carrasco is actually, if you do play fantasy baseball, I believe he's eligible as both a reliever and a starter. These aren't fantasy baseball rankings per se, but like I said in a couple of my past videos, I feel like a lot of people that watch these do play fantasy baseball, so that's that's a pretty good, I guess, thing to have also. So this year, if I didn't mention 1.07 WHIP, this year I could see Carrasco maybe. I honestly could see him taking a step back. This is an Indians team that does have a lot of talent, but Carrasco, these numbers were, I believe it was a career high for strikeouts for him, and the ERA might be brought down a little bit, but the wins are very dependent on how the Indians actually do this year. So at number 14, I've got the Washington Nationals, Steven Strasburg. So Strasburg had a shaky 2015, walked out with 11 wins, 155 strikeouts, 3.46 ERA, and a 1.11 WHIP. So Strasburg, I could see rebounding in 2016. He's still got the same talent he always had, and I think that Strasburg needs a big 2016 to be able to pull out kind of a bigger contract heading into following years. He seems like the Nationals are kind of shying away from keeping him long term. Max Scherzer kind of seems like the go-to pitcher now for the Washington Nationals, so I think this is a thing that's going to have to get better going into the future. So, move on to number 13, and I've got the Cleveland Indians' Corey Kluber. I believe a former Cy Young winner. Corey Kluber last year, not a fantastic year wins-wise by any means. Had 9 wins, 245 strikeouts, which was obviously a good stat to put up. 3.49 ERA and a 1.05 WHIP. So I could see more wins coming up this year. He is still the Cleveland Indians ace, and I think that the ERA might be able to be brought down a little bit also to kind of regain his 2014 form. So at number 12, I have a guy that really kind of struggled down the stretch last year, and that is the Tampa Bay Rays' Chris Archer. So Chris Archer last year looked like a Cy Young, maybe a Cy Young winner, definitely a Cy Young contender heading into the All-Star break, and then just everything seemed to get worse after that. The Rays weren't as good. They weren't giving as much run support. Granted, not a very good offensive team anyway, and Chris Archer himself, you saw a rise in the RA, a rise in the WHIP, and a rise in the loss column. So last year he was able to get 12 wins, 252 strikeouts, 3.23 ERA, and a 1.14 WHIP. So at number 11, I've got the New York Mets' Jacob deGrom. For me, the second highest rated Mets pitcher on here. Last year he was able to walk out with 14 wins, 205 strikeouts, a 2.54 ERA, and a .98 WHIP. So, again, same thing as Noah Syndergaard. Limited body of work for Jacob deGrom, but what we have seen has been very good. And again, from what we have seen heading into the future, it seems like the Mets have one of the better, if not the best, rotation in baseball. Alright, so at number 10, I've got the former Cy Young winner for the AL. That's the Houston Astros' Dallas Keuchel. And last year he was able to get, I believe, an AL high 20 wins. He was able to get 216 strikeouts, a 2.48 ERA, and a 1.02 WHIP, leading a very good and resurgent Astros team last year. So obviously the Astros weren't expected to make a whole lot of noise last year, but the emergence, not just Dallas Keuchel, but other guys in that team, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, taking another step forward. There was a lot that went good last year for the Houston Astros. So, I don't know. Again, small bodies of work are sometimes hard to trust, which is why I have Keuchel lower on this list. I could see him having a good year. He was pretty consistent last year. Wouldn't surprise me at all. But again, limited bodies of work for starting pitchers. You have to take that into account. There's guys that come through like this, maybe not in as big a way, but there are guys that come through with big years out of nowhere every single year. And there are guys that kind of fade off the face of the planet every single year that were former top 20 pitchers. So at number 9, I've got the New York Mets, Matt Harvey. So Matt Harvey's a guy that I still think is the best pitcher in the Mets rotation. Again, I keep mentioning this over and over again, a very, very good Mets rotation. So Matt Harvey was able to get 13 wins, 188 strikeouts, 2.71 ERA, and a 1.02 WHIP last year, coming off of injury. So I think if anyone's going to stay consistent this year for the Mets, it's Matt Harvey. I think I have the most faith in him and Steven Matz. I like what we saw, or I like what everyone saw from Matz last year. He had a big year, and I could see more of the same in 2016. So at number 8, I have the Pittsburgh Pirates ace, and that is Garrett Cole. So Garrett Cole last year was able to rack up 19 wins, 202 strikeouts, 2.60 ERA, and a 1.09 WHIP. Garrett Cole is a guy that's been progressing every single year. He's going to lead a Pirates team that I think could definitely contend as a playoff team this year. I could see a rebound year from Andrew McCutchen, hopefully from that entire lineup, and maybe get Garrett Cole to that 20-win mark. So at number 7, I have the former Dodger, now Arizona Diamondback, Zach Greinke. So Greinke, hands down, had one of the best years of any pitcher last year. I believe just getting edged out by Jake Arrieta for the NL Cy Young, and he should be contending for the Cy Young again this year. Was able to get 19 wins, 200 strikeouts, a 1.66 ERA, a sparkling ERA right there, and then a .84 WHIP. So Zach Greinke, I was thinking about sliding him up a little bit further on my list, but this is heading into 2016, and this is a Diamondbacks team that plays in a hitter's ballpark, and a Diamondbacks team that I really don't think is overall as good as the Dodgers were last year. So I think the run support might be a little bit down. Granted, this is still a good offensive team. Like I said, I just don't know if it's a team that could preserve as many wins as the Dodgers. This is also a Diamondbacks team with still a very, very weak bullpen. So at number 6, I have the former Toronto Blue Jay, now Boston Red Sox, David Price. David Price was fantastic down the stretch last year, putting up 18 wins, 225 strikeouts, a 2.45 ERA, and 1.08 WHIP. So moving to their Boston Red Sox rotation this year, most likely as their ace, I could see another big year for David Price. I've mentioned this before. I think he will help out the Red Sox dramatically. He knows the AL East. Granted, the AL East knows him. He has floated around from the AL East for 3 teams in his career, I believe also pitching for the Detroit Tigers as well. Obviously starting his career with the Tampa Bay Rays. So at number 5, I have the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale. So Chris Sale, one of the better pitchers in the MLB, the rotation or the ace for the White Sox. Last year he got 13 wins, 274 strikeouts, a 3.41 ERA, and a 1.09 WHIP. So Chris Sale, I could see more of the same from this year. This is a White Sox team that should be better this year with some of the acquisitions they've made in the last couple months. Should be able to get his win total up a little bit as well. Kind of struggled at times last year. Like I said, I think the ERA might drop a little bit and should be able to get above 15 wins this year with the strikeout numbers staying around that 275 mark. So at number 4, I have the San Francisco Giants ace, Madison Bumgarner. So Madison Bumgarner leads a team that I actually predicted to win the World Series this year. I think he is one of the top 5 pitchers hands down in baseball and will be again this year. So Madison Bumgarner last year was able to get 18 wins, 234 strikeouts, 2.93 ERA, and a 1.01 WHIP for a guy that's been pretty consistently successful, being able to bring in 3 World Series titles in his career. So, I can see more of the same. Honestly, seeing identical stats this year wouldn't surprise me one bit. At number 3, I had the Chicago Cubs ace and former NL Cy Young winner Jake Arrieta. So Jake Arrieta was able to rack up a MLB leading 22 wins last year, 236 strikeouts, a sparkling 1.77 ERA, and a .86 WHIP. So Jake Arrieta last year, obviously a breakout year for a guy that's been around for a while. Never really found his groove until last year, and then really found it in a big way and for a Cubs team that was contending for a World Series and a team that is the favorite to win the World Series so far this year. So at number 2, I've got the Washington Nationals ace, Max Scherzer. So Scherzer last year for a struggling Nationals team was able to bring in 14 wins, 276 strikeouts, a 2.79 ERA, and a .92 WHIP. So Max Scherzer this year, I have a lot of faith in the Nats. I think with a little bit of the pressure taken off to win this year, some change in the management, that it should help out. This is still an extremely talented team. This is still an extremely talented player with Max Scherzer. So at number 1, I've got the Dodgers ace, and in my opinion, still the best pitcher in baseball, and that is Clayton Kershaw. So Clayton Kershaw finished the year last year with 16 wins. I believe the only pitcher with over 300 strikeouts last year with 301, a 2.13 ERA, and a .88 WHIP. Alright, so that concludes my 2016 MLB player rankings for the individual positional rankings. It also concludes my starting pitcher rankings for 2016. So I'll be coming back tomorrow most likely with my overall top 50, and that will have wrapped up my second segment. Can't even do that well, that's weird. The second segment of my MLB, or of my player rankings. Already done NBA and almost done with MLB now. So that's pretty much it. So Outfielder 1 last Friday. Haven't gotten it uploaded yet. Haven't been able to get it edited and uploaded. Should be coming later today. But today, wanted to actually do my relief pitcher rankings video. So the outfielder rankings, I did top 30. And then for this, I want to do my top 10 like normal. So